is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're doing a tactical video for you guys today. This was a suggestion from the Grandmaster Dirtbag over at the Dirtbag Nation. So if you guys want to support the channel, head over to the Patreon page. Really support you guys. Wouldn't be doing this without you. We did get ranked #1 Grey Knight play in the world last year. So we want to kind of branch out and throw our tactics up on YouTube. So that's kind of what this whole Dirtbag Nation YouTube page is really for. So this is specifically going over the Dread Knights for Grey Knights, whether it be the Grandmaster Dread Knights or the regular Dread Knights, but I wanted to give you guys tips, tactics, and everything you need to know to put them on the table to make your gameplay better for the Grey Knights in 10th edition. So hopefully you guys enjoy. There's going to be a couple things specifically up on Patreon only, but most of them you guys are going to be able to see on YouTube. And if you guys want to support the channel, hit the subscribe, do all the YouTube shit, and then head over to Patreon if you want to see battle reports posted ahead of time on patreon.com. Also, specific videos you can't get on YouTube, only on Patreon. So appreciate you guys, enjoyed the video, and leave in the comment what you guys think about it. All right, guys. So with the Dread Knights, they had a huge showing last week with the grand tournaments and RTTs throughout the country and the world, really. They really had a huge stepping stone, so I'm sure a lot more people are going to be getting into the Grey Knight scene, and running Dread Knights is definitely going to be a key component of playing the army competitively, whether you run 1, 2, 3, 4, or in this case 5 Dread Knights. Some actually run 6 with 3 Grandmasters and 3 regular Dread Knights. We're not really going to go over specifically what the best lists are, mainly just some tactics that are going to be helping you guys benefit with winning more games on the tabletop. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so here's a top-down view. Now, it wouldn't be Dirtbag Nation if it wasn't for some beer and 40k. But let's go over the specifics for the Dread Knight Grandmaster. Now, the difference between the Grandmaster and the Dread Knight, I'm going to rank the Dread Knight over the Grandmaster, specifically because he can advance, shoot, and charge, and then fall back, shoot, and charge. Now, when you guys are running the Grandmasters, the biggest thing you're going to get with them is they can get enhancements like Sigil. Sigil is going to be almost a must to have in your army, and if it doesn't go on a Grandmaster walking with a squad of 10 Paladins, you're going to be putting on your Grandmaster Dread Knight. That makes this guy so much more volatile. You can throw him in different spots and not worry about him because he's not going to be able to get shot back and just teleport somewhere else. Now, you're going to be obviously putting Tech Marines with your Dread Knights to kind of buff them, heal them, keep them safe, whatever it may be. So I'm going to be kind of intertwining them in this video as well, just so you guys can see how I run them, see where you get the best spots and placements are. And hopefully you guys can see kind of the shiny clear plexiglass on this terrain. It's a little hard to see from the camera, but there's clear plexiglass. This is provided from Rexar Lasers. They're actually a really good sponsor. They're out in Texas. They make these plexiglasses. They're pretty cheap. They're actually $40 for a full set. You can get a laser etched on them. We have the Dirtbags, which we travel around with, and then they have the laser etched stuff here, which gets a full set for about $99. If you want free shipping, use Dirtbag in the code or the link in the description below. But besides that, with the Dread Knights, these guys can advance, shoot, and charge. So with Grey Knights special detachment rule, you can basically advance 6 inches automatically. So these guys' base speed are speed 14. This guy, though, however, is only going to be able to move 8, which is pretty slow when it comes to how big this thing is, and the range is only 24 inches. So you can advance with this guy for 1 CP, but with Grey Knights, we need to save our CP as much as possible. So this guy's going to outrank these guys almost every single time. If you only have an opportunity to bring 3 or only own 3, I would be running 3 of these guys, 0 of these guys, or 2 and 1 with the Sigil. That's the only way I'd be running them. But these guys are going to be able to kind of move out 14. They start back here. 14 inches is super far when it comes to 40k. 8 inches compared to that, you're only moving up to basically here to then get some shots off and potentially charge. But most of the time, you're going to be advancing the entire time. So you're going to be advancing 14, advance 6, move 14. So basically, you're advancing 14, shooting, and then charging in general. So that is why these guys are going to outrank these guys every single time. Now, how I run my Dread Knights, which you probably see in every single case, is going to be the hammer with the side cannon and the flamer. The Flamer is 18-inch range, which actually one of our dirtbags didn't know about, and once he figured that out, we laughed about it, but once he figured it out, he's like, holy shit, these guys are so much more deadly because you keep them at max range almost the entire time. You don't have to bring them within 12, you basically just keep them at 18 inches, shoot, and stay as far away as possible from the opponent. Then the side cannon got buffed. Huge buff to the side cannon. It's basically why we brought him out again. Once the side cannon got buffed again, I was like, all right, I'm making 5 Dread Knight lists as soon as possible because that's all I own. We have 6 in making. I'm basically putting them together. I just ordered a new kit off Etsy. So, but back to the side cannon, it's AP2 ignore cover. That is a Terminator killer machine. So most of the time it was AP1 didn't ignore cover. That's why you never saw these guys on the table. But AP2 ignore cover is insane in this game in 10th edition. You're able to basically shoot whatever you want, and whatever their save is, whether it be a 2, it's going to go up to a 4 for their invul most of the time, or if they're a 3-up save, it goes up to a 5, which is just nuts. they're gonna die. You're gonna kill stuff. And it's strength 10, which gets around most of the vehicles, because most vehicles are going to be toughness 10, if not 9, so you can win them on 3s or 4s. But then the tougher vehicles, you're still winning on 5s. And getting the amount of shots that you guys have, 6 shots, AP2, 3 damage, you're going to be doing a lot of damage with these side cannons in the shooting phase. So let's zoom in for you guys right up there. Okay. So that's basically the loadout we have. The hammer for the D6 plus 1 damage. It's strength 14, so these guys are really good for tank shock, especially moving 14 inches. You can basically tank shock specific units that you want. So you tank shock, you roll 14 dice. Most stuff in this game isn't toughness 14, so you're going to be beating their toughness, which means you roll 14 dice plus 2, so you're rolling 16 dice. Anything on a 5-up, max 6, you're doing that on the charge, and then obviously you get to swing afterwards. Now this guy is a little bit better in combat compared to this guy, but the only reason is because he's a Grandmaster, gets to reroll all hits, wounds, and damage against monsters and vehicles. So that's the only reason why he would be better in combat compared to this guy. But still, I use my Dread Knights for shooting. So this video, we're going to go over a lot of shooting and tactical by basically staying away from your opponent and having them come to you. All right. So with the Tech Priest, this is going to be the first thing that we're going to be talking about is the Tech Priest and how to basically position them in your games. Now, when you're setting up your Dread Knights, I'm basically going to be setting up deploying, right behind the ruin, making sure that any angles or line of sight they're not going to be able to get on your Dread Knights. So the Sigil guy, you can basically put him out a little bit more aggressive because if he does get an angle on you and he does shoot you, you can basically Sigil turn 1. If you're going to die, if you're not going to die, you might be able to take it. But if you are going to die, you can basically Sigil into a better position turn 1 to then be super aggressive turn 1 with your Dread Knights. Now instead, when these guys are positioned, I'm going to position my Dread Knights first, and then I'm going to position my Tech Priests. So I run 3 Tech Priests. I just love Tech Priests. I think they're really good for the list. So let's say this Dread Knight is positioned. I'm positioning him 3 inches away from this corner right here. So he's going to basically be able to turn kind of like this and be 3 inches from this little corner right here. So that way when I put my Tech Priest down, he's right against this corner. And now he's within 3 inches of this guy. So turn 1, this Tech Priest is going to be able to buff this guy or heal him if he gets shot, or both. So that's going to be my first choice. Then this guy over here, he's going to be coming down here. And then the second Tech Priest, they have Lone Op. You're literally able to kind of put him as far back as you possibly can. So they always stay at least 3 inches away from the Dread Knights. Let's say I put them back here. And let's say there's nobody on the other side over here that's going to be able to get to him in shooting or get up within 12 inches of him. So that's going to be the first thing is I'm going to put my Dread Knight there. The Tech Priest is far back. I'm not going to put my Tech Priest like right there because he's right next to the ruin and anything could happen where they either move up, get shunted, whatever it may be, and then now they're able to get within 12 inches and shoot your Tech Priest turn 1, which we don't want. So I'm going to put my Tech Priest as far back as possible. Now you might be able to have lasers when you're measuring the deployment. So if I turn this guy's base and there's no way that he's able to get line of sight onto this Dread Knight turn 1, let's say from over here at this angle, I'm actually going to be able to get an extra 3 inches of movement for my Tech Priest because I'm actually able to put him a little bit further back now because I turned the base like this. The base compared to like this, I'm now too far, but the base like this, it's a 5-inch base, I'm now 5 8 inches away. So they have to be basically 3 or 4 inches in front of my Dread Knight to get a shot off on my Tech Priest. And nobody really wants to get in front of a Dread Knight that close and go after the Tech Priest. They'd rather try and kill the Dread Knight so the Tech Priest is safe. So that's going to be the first thing, is when you're setting up your Tech Priest and using your Tech Priest, they're going to be as far back as possible most of the time. Once the Dread Knights start advancing out and getting out, then you can start using your Tech Priests as secondary units. That's why I like them so much, because they're able to kind of get picked up for Teleport Assault later in the game and then drop back down somewhere to do an action. They actually hit pretty hard in melee as well. We just went against Mike and we ran 3 Tech Priests into him. And he basically charged a Chosen squad with a Lord, and he killed the Chosen squad with the Lord, which was pretty funny. So all 3 Tech Priests kind of charged in and just murdered that unit, which was hilarious. So the Tech Priest, that's going to be the first thing, is really just going over keeping them safe at all times. When your Dread Knights are shunning around and teleport assaulting, here's another really good thing about Tech Priests. They are loan up. So here's number 2 tip for the Dread Knights, is when you're teleport assaulting them or misting them, let's say this unit starts moving up, right? They move up, get into range of one of my missed targets. This guy is, let's say, no longer... This guy is about to get charged by these 3 Terminators, which I don't really want. So I'm going to spend 1 CP. When I spend 1 CP, this guy gets misted. Now, this guy's vulnerable, this Tech Priest. This Tech Priest is now right in the open. There's nobody around him. He can get shot by any angle, whatever it may be. I then am going to rapid ingress once his movement is done and basically bring this guy back down in a safe position, whether it be on this side, as far away as possible, whether it be just a little bit out of their threat range this way, or it could be literally behind the Tech Priest, 3 inches back here, a little bit behind here. Now I'm basically further than 12 inches away from these guys, so they can't even charge this guy. They can't shoot him because they're outside of the range of, loan off. And now he's protected because my 1 Dread Knight that came back down from rapid ingress is now within 3 inches again. So this guy now is safe, even though he wasn't from Mist of Deimos and then come back on. So that is I love doing that tactic with the Tech Marines and Dread Knights, is basically misting away and then coming back down, whether it be on another Dread Knight or another Tech Priest, or in position where you want to use them for the next turn. So the next turn they could advance up 14, shoot and charge. So they have such a huge distance. Even if they came back here, like they were up here, even though they came back here, they can move up 14 inches next turn and get literally back to where they were to then shoot and charge and kill that unit that was trying to kill them. So I love doing that tactic, is Mist of Deimos and then rapid ingress at the end of the turn. That is one of my favorite things to do with the Dread Knights. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3 is going to be keeping them as far away as possible. Now this is basically the pro move. This is basically how I run my Dread Knights. These guys are going to be my example of trying to get shots off on them. I'm going to be measuring 18 inches to the back guy. So this guy back here is going to be measuring 18 inches to this back guy right here, because my intent is to kill this unit this turn. So when I measure this, I'm measuring 18 inches to the back guy. Now why I'm not doing it to the front guy, because he's most likely going to pull from the front with the shots, because if he does pull from the back, then I am going to have more targets to shoot with the front guy. So the next guy is going to be coming down 18 inches behind him and measure 18 inches to the front guy. So my closest guy here is going to be 18 inches as far possible away as he can to the back guy, in case he, depends on where he pulls. I still want to have shots. And then this other guy is going to be the same thing. He's going to be 18 inches, and we're back. So the third guy that I'm really trying to focus on, this guy is going to be getting 2 targets in him. The first target he's going to be getting is 18 inches away from the back guy, in case he pulls this front guy. So when I get that 18 inches, I can then measure 18 inches from another target, or whatever it may be. So let's say these 2 guys right here kill this unit. Well, now I need another target for this guy to shoot. So it might only take 2 guys. If not, I still have a 3rd Dread Knight available to shoot this target, to try and kill this target. And this is the secondary unit that I'm going after. So if I don't kill this unit, the 3rd guy is going to shoot that unit. If I do kill that unit, the 3rd guy then has another target, so he's not wasted this turn to come over here and shoot the Nurglings off the board. So that's going to be tip number 3, is how you're basically going to be able to play these guys, is keeping them as far as possible with your tech priest. Obviously, 3 inches away, 3 inches away. This tech priest back here, I'm not sure if you guys can see on the table, but he is 3 inches away from this guy. This guy's 3 inches away from him and him. All right. This is going to probably be the missed target in case they get close, because he's the closest one. So if I need to miss him, I can. And then these 2 tech priests are within both of these guys 3 inches. So that way, if this guy gets hurt, I can heal this guy twice, because 2 tech priests. Or if this guy and this guy gets hurt, I can heal them both. Also, you'd be able to both buff up 2 Dread Knights next turn in command phase. So that's how you're going to be able to maneuver and measure, is the entire game as much as possible. These guys are trying not to get in combat. They're trying to stay as far away as possible to shoot them from 18 inches. The other one can shoot 24, the other guys, but we're trying to get some flamers going over there. So now if they have super high threat ranges, let's say they can threaten you from 18 inches away, you might say, hey, screw the flamer, I'm gonna be 24 inches away at max, so that way I can get some just pot shots off with my side cannon rather than my flamer. I'll just say, hey, screw the flamer, I really don't want to get charged by this guy, so I'm going to stay, let's say it's Angron, I'm going to stay as far as possible away from Angron, or I'm going to commit everything to be killing Angron from 18 inches away, and then let's say I do kill Angron, now there's nothing else that's going to out-threat me on the table unless he comes back, obviously. So that would be tip number 3, is how to place and keep at range your Dread Knights. Okay guys, here's a charging example of how your Dread Knight's going to be moving up and charging. So let's say you actually have to they're closing in on you, you have to get in combat, and we're going to try and tank shock. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put one of my Dread Knights as close as possible. Now what you can do is you can use this guy kind of as a buffer. So if I put this guy like here, his big base cannot move around this Dread Knight. He'd have to go through the wall, which means he has to end on the other side of the wall and then come back over on the other side of the wall, which is just more movement, and then he's got to walk all the way around here. So this guy, if this unit doesn't die, and let's say they live in combat, whatever it may be, I can move block with my Dread Knights by turning their base like this and keeping the distance between, the ruins and stuff like that, where they can't walk this way without being within 1 inch of me. So it's an illegal move. He can't walk past me. He'd have to charge me or walk this way and then go around, which is just so much further. So this guy's going to be moving up and turning the base like this. And then let's say we get some guys that are super far away, because again, I don't want to commit everybody. I'm just going to kind of keep these guys back. I'm going to shoot these guys, and then this is going to be my second target, or vice versa. So let's say we kill these 2 guys in the shooting phase, and there's 1 Terminator left. My goal would be to charge in, and you can even have these guys on the other side, just to give you an example. So let's say you roll 5 for the charge, you charge in, you get base to base. This guy can tank shock this guy. Now, he's only toughness 6 or whatever. I'm rolling 16 dice because of my my malice. So if you want to be ballsy and you want to get 2 guys and try and roll 6 5s, which I don't have very luck of rolling 5s for the tank shock, let's say you really want this guy to die. So you charge in, you tank shock this guy. Now, since it was a legal charge, let's say you kill him, because he only has 3 wounds, you can then continue your charge because you now have to pile in, and this is the closest enemy unit. So now you're able to pile in 3 inches and get base to base with this unit, and now attack this unit as if it was the charge target, because in 10th edition, you could fight people that you haven't charged. That's a way to get around fight first. That's a way to get into different combat, different units. So that's a great example of using tank shock to your advantage. Let's say this guy's blocking your way of getting to a really juicy unit in the back. Even if it's vice versa, let's say there's 1 Nurgling and 3 dudes back here. Now, I probably wouldn't want to get just 1 Dread Knight into here, but it's going to be like this. I'm going to charge in, which would have been a simple charge because it's like a 3 inch charge compared to a 7 or 8 inch charge. I'm still going to get to them. Here's how. So I charge in there. I make sure that I'm within 4 inches of these guys, so that way when I pile in 3, I'm within 1 inch of them. So that way I'm still in melee. So I charge in, I tank shock, I kill the Nurgling, luckily, with 4 wounds, and then I'm able to pile in 3 inches, be 1 inch away because of being in combat. And now I'm able to fight these guys, and then let's say I kill 2 of them, I can then consolidate and base to base, so now he can't move. but obviously you want to base the base on the other side of the terrain, so you can't be shot next turn. That's a great example of using tank shock to your ability to get to units that are in the way of other units. Let's say these guys are blocking, he's being super annoying. I kill, these two in combat. This distance is super far. I would need to roll a 7 or 8 to get to like there. But instead, I'm just going to roll to charge this thing. Let's say I roll 4. I charge 4. I get into combat, tank shock, pilot, and kill that unit. Or do as much damage as possible with the 4-up and multi. So, that's a way to use tank shock to your advantage. Now, since these guys have fly, here's another thing. They gain fly because of the advance roll. So if he's trying to move block you, he's being super cheeky, which is what good players are doing. You can just fly over him. You're a vehicle, but you can just fly over, land there, shoot behind you or shoot there, and then charge back. Do whatever you gotta do. But these guys gain fly. Remember that because when they advance, they gain fly. The fly keyword. Now here's something that you shouldn't get tied up on. If they are in combat, remember you don't gain fly when you fall back. And you can't advance when you fall back. So if you're stuck in combat, yes, these guys can fall back, shoot and charge, but you can only move 8 inches. So if he is surrounding you like this, you'd have to desperate escape. Because you can't advance, you can't fall back because he's basically got you in all 3 corners. So you'd have to desperate escape, which I wouldn't really suggest, because then on a 1 or 2 you'd die. So, yeah, let's not desperate escape our vehicle. We might have to stay in there and shoot or try and, it's really the only way to get out of here is basically just shooting these nerdlings and then, doing whatever. So that's going to be a pickle. But if these guys are like this, you can basically just fall back like here, shoot, and then charge back in and get the charge bonus that turn. But again, remember, you can't fly when you fall back and you can't move over models when you fall back. You can't move 14 when you fall back. So... Alright, so that is the next example, is using tank shock to your ability, getting into other units to charge. But again, these guys are really good at tank shocking, especially rolling 16 dice. You're basically rolling as much as a knight. I think a knight's rolling 18 to 24 dice for tank shock. This guy is 1/3 of the points of a knight. So you're still able to roll 16 dice, moving 14 inches to get that tank shock off. Keeping your Dread Knights safe throughout the game is going to be how the top player is going to be able to keep them on the table. I'm not just throwing all my Dread Knights up because they're not going to be tanky enough to survive going against Tau or Bouten or anything like that shooting. I'm going to be playing the terrain to my advantage as much as I possibly can. These new terrain features usually are 2 inches high, so they're able to basically be moved over by vehicles. And having us have such fast movement, I'm going to be using this, and the ones in the corner to my advantage, so that way I'm able to kind of start in the corners and get as much movement as I possibly can and not be shot at because I'm not touching the terrain feature. If I'm touching the terrain feature, they can shoot through it and shoot you. Instead, I'm going to be right on the other side and I'm able to kind of move like this without clipping this 4-inch route, and I'm going to be moving like this over the 2-inch like this because you ignore it because you're a vehicle. So using this to your advantage. Now being on this side is going to be the same exact thing. Let's say this is the mosh pit in the center of one of the terrain features for Games Workshop and where we play at our home store. If I put my guy right here, I have so much distance to move over this way and ignore this terrain feature. Most vehicles are blocked by walls, so you basically can't move through them. You have to basically up, over, down when you're flying. But with this 2-inch thing, you can basically move up, block line of sight for most things, prepare to get the charge off next turn, and then when you charge off, you have such a huge movement going almost any direction over this 2-inch terrain feature. So using the terrain to your advantage and using these little L's as much as you possibly can to block line of sight is going to be huge. Using the oval base to your advantage as well is also huge. So you have to make sure that when you have a laser, you have to turn your base to make sure that they can't get any part of your model. If you're going like this the entire time, you give up so much more angle on the base getting shot through this little section. Instead, you're just going to turn them sideways like this, so that way they can't get that angle on anything of your Dread Knight. So using the oval base to your advantage when it comes to getting line of sight and not getting line of sight. So you can use this on your side to gain line of sight. So when you're like this and you're drawing line of sight to the base or the model, you're basically getting the line of sight through here into your opponent. And if you don't want to be shot, you basically just turn back around and now you can't be shot. Let's say you're shooting something over here. So you have to make sure that the entire base is in the terrain feature to get cover, for example, or make sure that you're blocked by some part of the terrain so that way they can't see your entire model. If this little thing is 2 inches, but it's blocking any part of the model from somebody shooting at it this side, you're going to get that 2-up cover, or you're going to get a cover save, and then we have the Armored Content, which is true silver armor. You're able to basically ignore anything that's AP2 or above. That doesn't ignore cover. So these guys are pretty tanky when they're just trying to focus fire one of them down, if you're keeping them around the cover, but they're not going to be tanky enough if they're basically just wide in the open or not getting any cover whatsoever. They're going to die. They're toughness 8. 13 wounds definitely helps, but 2-up, 4-up, toughness 8 with 13 wounds, they will be picked off by anything with D6 damage or melted guns. So just be careful with that and use the terrain features to the best. Okay guys, one of the last tactics we're going to be going over is how to basically deploy and set up your Dread Knights for turn 1, for secondaries and stuff like that. So let's say you got the corner deployment, so you got the 30 inches down the center all the way to the deployment. You have the kind of kill box objective in the center. It's different for each layout, but this is just going to be an example for the one of the most popular layouts. We have the little L in this little corner here with the 2 little rectangle here, long rectangle here, and then we have the long or middle rectangle right here, all line of sight blocking. The only really gap they have is this little catty corner shot right through the middle here, and then going through this way. So when you're placing your models, again, kind of what I went over with the tech priest in the beginning, is I'm going to be placing my Dread Knights first, and then my tech priests are going to be going after that. So you want to make sure that you have your tech priest measured up. So if you know your tech priest is going right here, like guaranteed, I'm going to put in my Dread Knight right here. So my first Dread Knight is going to be placed right about here, trying to make sure that he doesn't get line of sight from this way, from that way, from that way, or from that way. So the safest spot on the map right now is going to be right about there, making sure that he doesn't get shot from anywhere. Now, the tech priest could be then dropped after here because he's now within 3 inches. You can really do it in any order as long as you know that this tech priest is going to be within 3 inches of a Dread Knight. Sometimes you put your tech priest down first, and then you realize that, shit, there's a big-ass dude over here that's going to be able to shoot my Dread Knight coming from this way, or I don't have anything over here to shoot. So now my tech priest is screwed because I want to put my Dread Knight up here, but there's no tech priest around him. He's stuck over here because I put him down first. So I want to make sure that my tech priests are always within 3 inches of a Dread Knight turn 1. Now my buffing Dread Knights, you can pick up 3 models with Teleport Assault. So I know that my Grand Master is super slow, plus he has Sigil. He's usually not the one that I buff turn 1, unless they give me something super easy to shoot at. So I have 1 Dread Knight, Grand Master that doesn't have any Sigil, 1 that does have a Sigil. And then I have 3 regular Dread Knights that are just super fast, super good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that they can get over this 2-inch terrain feature right here. So let's say I grab my laser again and I do the line, and he would have to be at that angle to get this Dread Knight down right here. So I'm going to put my guy as far over as possible so that way he can't physically target that guy if he goes through that line. Now again, if he hops over here and gets a different angle on him, I didn't ask for that angle, I asked for this angle. So you and your opponent can agree, like, yes, 100%, you cannot target my Dread Knight. If you go first, you move up over there and you can't get the angle. You agree? Yes, you both agree? Great. Now he can't shoot you going from that specific angle. If he goes a completely different angle, there's nothing to argue because I didn't ask for that angle. That's a different video. So this video, this angle can't shoot me. So I'm going to put my Dread Knight right there. Now what we went over in the beginning with the Tech Priest, this Tech Priest now can start all the way back here. So now he's 3 inches away from this Dread Knight, right about there. He can then buff up this guy turn 1. He can advance, 11 inches this way or follow the Dread Knight on turn 1. But he's now 3 inches away, can't be shot at because of Luna. And if this guy does get shot, miraculously, he can then heal him D3 on turn 1. So that's going to be my next Dread Knight. My other Dread Knight is going to be the other speed 14. he might be going up here in the top corner, behind this ruin over here. Now, again, I run 3 Tech Priests, so my last Tech Priest might be up here with the other Dread Knight, buffing up that one, because he can move 14 and get crazy angles going down the side of the table. So let's say I hop out 14 and then I get a crazy angle going that way. That's what that Dread Knight at the top is for. He's going to try and go that way, but I need a Tech Priest over there to try and buff him up. So there's my 3 regular Dread Knights. Now, my two Grandmaster Dread Knights, this one with a sigil, you can deploy a little bit more aggressively. You can put him up front, and as long as he doesn't get crazy angles, he might get a crazy angle this way. So if there's nothing scary over there that you're really worried about, then yeah, you can put your Dread Knight right here, and then he can either be chosen to be buffed up by this Tech Priest, or he can be moving up, shooting something, or moving up, doing action, getting picked up from teleport assault, whatever it may be. My last Dread Knight, the slow-ass dude back here, he's just coming back here. He's literally just kind of chilling, waiting back there. If he comes in my deployment zone and gives me something to shoot turn 1, great, that Dread Knight's going to have something to do. If not, he might be able to kind of move back, do an action. He might get picked up most of the time for teleport assault, because my other Dread Knights are super fast. The regular Dread Knights are going to be able to move 14, get some angles and get shots off, or stay outside of 18 inches to 24 inches and shoot from really far away. Like, all I have to do is basically move up to here, and now I have like 3 or 4 different angles going to the center. I have that angle, or that angle. So I can stay pretty far away. My Tech Priest can, again, stay pretty far away, because he can advance 6 as well. So he's moving 11 inches, keeping up with the Dread Knights. Now he's within 2 inches, but that's basically how I'm going to deploy my 3 Dread Knights that are super quick, because they can move out 14, completely different angles. Like, this guy can go this way, crazy angle down the side, down this way. Tech Priest can follow him 11 inches, right? Now he's staying within 3 inches. Stuff like that. So that's going to be how I'm deploying my super fast ones turn 1. The regular Dread Knight Grandmaster, he's super slow. He's probably going to be my teleport assault target turn 1. And then this sigil one is going to be kind of slowly walking to do stuff, because he's got sigil. He could be kind of like a boss status and not be too fearful from getting shot. Make sure he doesn't get charged, because the only way to counter the sigil is charging him and killing him that way, which I have lost him plenty of times from that. But make sure that he is not being shot because of the sigil, and keep him far away so he doesn't get charged. You should be the one doing the charging, not getting charged back. So that's an example, guys. I have 3 Dread Knights, super quick, making sure they can't be shot turn 1. 1 Dread Knight 100% can't be shot turn 1, because he's all the way in the back. He's going to be my teleport assault target. And if you want to, you can teleport assault the second Grandmaster, so that way they're both kind of coming down together and shooting something you really want to get shots off. You have 3 teleport assault targets. It might be the 2 Dread Knights and Drago. It might be a interceptor squad. It might be Stern and Drago and a Dread Knight. There's a bunch of different options. Now, if you only have 4 Dread Knights, let's pretend this Dread Knight is down here and this Dread Knight's not in your list. That's going to be the same thing. This Dread Knight's going to be back here. He's going to be my teleport assault target. You can play him a lot more aggressively because he has sigil. So he's going to be the first one to get picked up. Then you might be picking up Drago turn 1, and then you might be picking up Stern or somebody else on the battlefield. So hopefully, guys, this makes sense to you. I hope that you guys can see the clear plexiglass. I don't know how to change it. I might have to zoom in or make it shiny, whatever it may be. But hopefully these little tactics will help you better your game for the... Alright, guys, so more videos like these are going to be coming up on the channel. There's going to be a lot of specific tactical videos for specific armies that we play on the channel. If you guys are interested in coaching, we do Dirtbag Nation coaching for the Grandmasters, for competitive Dirtbags. If you guys want to support the channel, it's $1 a month or $5 if you want to be a little bit more generous. Basically make stuff like this happen. We're going to be upgrading the background. You guys can see it's just a gray wall. This is the wall that came with the house. So we actually have an indoor studio now compared to being in the garage downstairs, which I had to throw an Ethernet extension cord out the window, drop a story, and plug it in the garage, which was not ideal. So a lot of stuff is happening in 2024. Again, Grey Knights are in a very, very strong position, so there's going to be a lot more tactical videos coming up for Grey Knights, hopefully before the nerf comes. We all know it's coming, so make sure you're playing your guys as soon as possible. Have some fun with the army. And also, there's going to be a lot of specific tactical videos coming up on the channel. That's kind of how our channel grew so much recently. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. Maybe by the time you see this video, we already hit 10,000 subscribers. But once we do that, we got a lot more merch coming up on Dirtbag Nation. But it all starts with you guys heading over to Dirtbag Nation Patreon page or just hitting the subscribe button so we actually hit that goal as soon as possible. Guys, I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what you liked, didn't like, how we can improve on the channel, and what you guys want to see coming up, even on the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. I love suggestions. That's how one of these got suggested, was a Grandmaster Dirtbag wanted to see this type of video, so we made it specifically for that because he supports the channel. So guys, appreciate it, good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. If you guys are thinking about joining the Patreon page, we're going to go over each tier and how it's going to benefit you and what you're looking for specifically to get out of 40k in 10th edition coming up. There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of tactical videos up on the channel, which is for free. There's going to be a bunch of perks that you get specifically for being a part of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. So first off, we have the first tier, which is $1 a month. You guys get first access to the videos over at patreon.com. You also get access to the Discord, which is specifically a private link in the Discord that only Patreon members can see. So you guys will have first access to that. Also a benefit is Patreons over the Dirtbag Nation get live streamed games on patreon.com streamed from YouTube, but there's only links specifically for the patreons.com. So not only do you get first access to these videos, you also get to see live stream games specifically only on patreon.com. The next tier is the Justicar. You guys get a shout out on every single video on YouTube. You also get to support us a little bit more. You get first dibs at voting on Discord, as well as you just kind of say, hey, I just want to be a Justicar Dirtbag and support you guys a little bit more than that $1 a month tier. But you get all the same access as well as the different color over on the Discord. So the third tier is the competitive Dirtbag. This tier, you get a lot more one-on-one coaching. This is a lot of the Dirtbags over on the Dirtbag Nation. They are able to send out messages one-on-one, go over list ideas, tactics, anything you guys want to talk about. When I was getting into 40K, or really any game in general, I always wanted to message the top players in the meta and just ask them questions. This $10 a month tier gets you that opportunity to message us one-on-one on Discord, so that way we can actually coach you, give you our insights, suggestions, and that's going to get you better at the 40k 10th edition as a whole. So that tier alone, just $10 a month to have one-on-one coaching, one-on-one messages anytime throughout the month, that's going to be a perfect tier for you guys. Even if you're brand new to the game, we go over 1,000 point list, 1,500 point list, 2,000 point brand new starting list, team list, anything you guys need. That's what the competitive Dirtbag tier is for. Also, you get a little bit red number name tag on Discord, so people know that you're really serious about getting into the competitive scene. The Grandmaster Dirtbags. This is the all-in-all $25 a month tier. You get one-on-one coaching, everything we said prior to this, but you guys get to see me, Mike, any of the other Dirtbags play your specific list that you want to see tested out live on one of our battle reports. You guys get to mention, suggest videos you guys want to see coming up on patreon.com. So you guys get the above first tier benefit of everything that we do over at Dirtbag Nation. All the support mainly comes from you guys supporting us over here at Dirtbag Nation. And Grandmasters, I can't thank you enough, but for $25 a month, you get one-on-one coaching and anything you want to see live on the tabletop. So you get to see a professional play right in front of you. You guys get to kind of like see it one-on-one, and I'm actually making this specifically for you. There's also TTS events that you guys can suggest. If you guys want to do a first 1 or 2 turn run through on TTS, we can actually log in and coach you one-on-one with that. If you guys see us at any GTs, you guys get special benefits, free dice, stuff like that. Anytime you purchase a merch thing on Discord, you guys get a free limited edition Dirtbag dice sent to you with every single purchase on top of that. So there's a lot of benefits coming up with the Grandmaster Dirtbag. But guys, I can't thank you enough for supporting us. Definitely let me know which tier would be best for you if you go over to patreon.com and specifically go to a tier. And make sure you don't forget to message me up on Discord. That's where we check every single day. If you guys are really into getting into 10th edition 40k, head over to Patreon, join the competitive Dirtbag or the Grandmaster. Message me as many times as you possibly want, and I'll coach you the best I possibly can on any specific army that you guys play. Mainly our armies right now, currently, going into 2024, is going to be Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and then we have Custodes, Sisters, and I think that's it going into the wings of 2024. But again, any other army that you guys play, we have other coaches lined up for the Dirtbags that are ready to take on that role of the competitive Dirtbag page. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for joining the Dirtbag Nation if you guys are already part of us. And we'll see you in another video soon.